Hi, hello, and happy preparation day. Just a little brief rundown of what we've been doing this week. I know it's been a long time since I posted one, well, it's because during the winter time I didn't do anything, except try to stay warm. So here I've got the pulley on here. I'm not for sure if I'm going to keep it like this or make another pulley or what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to my brother about it first. But otherwise, it could run this way for a while, but it could also self-destruct and ruin everything. So I'm going to find out what he thinks before I commit to anything else. So that, I kind of cleaned up the shop a little bit, not that you'd really know necessarily. Pretty much the only other things I've done lately is I have been working on the wiring and dashboard on the loader. And that's pretty much come down to let me get over there. And by the way, no, nothing's changed downstairs. I haven't been down there working in a while. So anyhow, what has gone on, I took the old dashboard off, kind of hammered it straight, sanded it up a whole bunch, and cleaned it. If you look down inside there, you can barely see it, I think. Hopefully you can see it. There it is. Anyhow, that's the voltage regulator. And two new screws for that to go in, nuts and bolts, and then these are screwed into the panel up here. Just painted it with the blue stuff I had on hand. That's my main power cutoff, and then that's a push button to crank the motor over. I bypassed a lot of other garbage that was on here that ain't going back on it. And so once I find my stinking alternator charging harness, I'll be able to wire that back in. It's around here somewhere, just not sure where I lost it to. And that'll be pretty much the whole electrical system for now. It doesn't mean I can't put lights or other things on it later, but just right now, that's pretty much all we're going to do with that. Yeah, other than that, things that have been done since the last time I've made a report. And or things that have happened. They've been done, but they weren't done by me necessarily. They were done by forces of nature. Well, one thing I did do is I bought some more hay, but that's, you buy hay all the time. That's nothing too terribly staggering. The new ton truck hauls hay like a champ, no problem, steady, smooth driving, easy to operate. Very nice machine in that way. Although it gets terrible fuel mileage, we'll just have to worry about that later. Over here, we got Mocha and Chestnut and Caroline in this pen, along with Mr. O'Malley, although he's probably hiding on the other side. I've got a tire on him because he likes to jump fences. Thing is, he's got a tire on him, he doesn't like to do anything. He's not like to jump fences, he just likes to sit and mope around. Feel sorry for himself. Even though he can pull the tire, no problem. There he is. There's Mr. O'Malley. Sitting over there with a collar and a leash and pitiful expression of helplessness. Even though he can take off and run with that thing if he wants to. Okay, over here. We still have our two wildebeests, Sam and Ginger, but we also have Sam's daughter Sugar in here because Sugar got tipped a few weeks ago. Yeah, the dinner. Yeah, doesn't smell like food, does it? Anyhow, so she's in here, plus we don't know if she's pregnant or not, so we just put her in here for now. Yeah, she's a monster. She's mean. I had to deal with frozen water for a while, but that thankfully got taken care of. Now the thing bubbles because there's holes in the perforations in the hose fitting so that it draws air, so now it gurgles all the time. Well, at least it tells you it's working, right? Of course, over here, there's Franz. Ain't that Franz? What you doing, Franz? Hans and Franz. We're going to pump you up. And Hansel, whose sister Gretel's on the other side, there's Hansel sitting over there. Here's Hans. You can't have my fingers. I know you want to eat my fingers. You probably try to eat the camera too. And there's Junior. Yes, there's a little Junior. Yeah, there, Junior. How you doing? Yes. You wondering if that's edible too, aren't you? You're like, can I eat that? Yes. Listen, he'll eat your fingers. I'll tell you what. He will try to bite your fingers off if you let him. Yes. But he also likes to have his noggin scratched. Squitchy, squitchy. Yeah, it's a squitchy, squitchy. Yeah. Yes. And then there's Hansel. Yes, he's a snuggle bug. He's a snuggler. He'll just let you wrap your arms around him. Most goats won't. Most goats don't like being enclosed like that. Over here, these babies are doing alright. There's Fluffy. And then there's Jill. Not for sure where the others are at. They're probably just around the corner somewhere. I didn't see them. I could go look for them. I gotta remember to burn the trash today before the day's over. It's one of the things on my to-do list. Over here, just to follow up with my greenhouse, this all seems to be doing okay in here because it didn't get frozen. But over here, where it did get frozen, it's odd. Some of it froze and some of it didn't. I don't know exactly what the difference is and why. How many of these are going to survive, I do not know. They all took a hit. Oddly enough, though, you notice the grapefruit trees didn't suffer so bad. They seem to be alright with that. And then this thing, it's a goner. It's dead. And the pineapples seem to have survived. Of course, the onions survived. They're kind of more freeze-proof than you know. But you see here how we got this hit and miss. You got this area here. It's all the same plant, theoretically. I don't know if it's a genetic variation on the theme or what, but some of them have survived and are already putting on new growth and everything. Break that loose because, well, it broke the leaf too, unfortunately. There we go. Now it's open. Now I can try to grow a new stem. I just broke it off. Didn't help it much, probably. Anyhow, so the thing is some of them froze. Look over there. I thought there was no moisture around it at all. The stem that it was attached to is a goner. But at that point anyway. Well, what I'll do with these is I'll just put these in the pot and they'll hopefully do alright. It was more the old ones that suffered than the young ones, oddly enough. And so, yeah, I'll have to get around there and root them out. But generally speaking, as many as I can rescue, I'm going to try to, obviously. Somebody said, you got something you can waste. It's like, no, I'm not here to waste these things. I'm going to hopefully make a viable, marketable product out of them if I can get them to live long enough through all my inadequate greenhousing. See this avocado here? It didn't get hurt too bad. In fact, if anything, it's still crumbly from the dehydration it suffered earlier in the last year, or in the fall. See, it's regrowing right over here. So, how much damage was done to how many of them, I don't know, but they ain't none of them real happy. But it looks like that this pineapple here, some of them you can see they're all discolored and squishy and not too well, but then some of them are firm and in pretty good shape. So the amount of what froze is pretty hit and miss. Of course, a little aloe vera died right there. However, these aloe vera up right here didn't seem to notice it. So, you know, it's kind of strange how these things work. I think my cactus is goner. I think it got dehydrated too much. I don't think it's going to come back, but I'll. And then this, I don't know if it's going to do anything or just sit there and rot. It's a piece of ginger root. I don't know if that's a live root or just a piece of hair stuck to it. It's kind of dry at the moment. It's a little damp. This thing survived. I'm going to repot it probably in that pot. I don't know. I got another pot over there with a dead one in it. Then these cactus right here, they survived just fine. That one right there looks like it took a really good hit and it may have actually died. I don't know. Some of the stem feels kind of firm and some of it feels like it's goner. Probably just needs to be pruned back. Over here, some of these got hit, some of them didn't. Really strange. Up here, these got a little frost tip a little bit, but this cactus did fine. So it was really random as to which ones got froze and which ones didn't. Oh, yeah. Springtime is going to be a lot of replanting stuff. You know, out here, everything in this area was plenty warm enough to fully survive the cold. And these will go back outside here when the freezing weather is past. Since it's pretty late and it's still late in February, it's a little too soon to be putting them out, but pretty much they'll be put out as soon as it's safe. Now over here, slip on the mud, I doctored up that gate there because Mr. O'Malley was getting over it and the babies were trying to get through it. In fact, they did once. So I welded up some rebar up on the top and then I put 2 pieces of sheet metal on it. And so that kind of kept them from going through there and made the gate 6 foot tall, give or take. So my goal is to have at least 6, if not 7 foot of fence out here. And yes, I hear Gretel. Yeah, I got Gretel. There's Candy. Yes. Yes, Gretel. And of course Snippy Snap. Yes, a Snippy Snap. What you doing? Yes, there's a Gretel. There's the babies. Yes, gotta look at the funny thing and see what it is. Yes, what's the thing? Yeah, I don't know what that thing is, but it's a thing. Yes, babies. Since they keep getting out over there, I have no idea how many of them are pregnant now. But hopefully none, since they're all related to the buck. They're his daughters, except Candy there. She's from a different herd, but we don't want to breed her to... I don't want to breed her to Kiko because it'll mess up her purity and her registration. Purity, not as in moral purity, but genetic purity. So, other than that, of course, getting ready emotionally for another year of grapevines. Hopefully, I'll get a really good, bountiful harvest of grapes. Mocha, what you doing? Are you pregnant yet? You should be. Probably not, though. So, yeah, the winter rye didn't really pick up at first. But it was really, it was too dry for rye, really. I know that rhymes and it wasn't meant to, but it does. I mean, I could have said it some other way, like we didn't get enough rain, but recently we've got a lot of rain. I think that, see, there's Mr. O'Malley now. He's out with his tire. He knows what to do with it. He just doesn't feel like doing anything most of the time. He's a lazy old bum. Like, you know. So over here, it may not be evident, but again, this is an area where there's seedlings trying to push up through. All the seedlings are coming from the hay they're being fed. Hopefully that'll thatch in. Once it does, it'll really make a world of difference. Well, it'll get like this is, at least somewhat. And then of course I got all my black raspberries to bloom. Hopefully they will. So a lot of these are really good healthy stalks, even though they don't look that good. They kind of go dormant like that in the winter time, and the deer eat a lot of their leaves off. But it doesn't hurt them. And see here, we're already getting our spring flowers coming in, daffodils and stuff coming in. They've been up for a week or so. Maybe longer than that. I'm not quite for sure. Lots of flowers. We'll be getting the hyacinths in, of course, and then later the tulips, and just a whole bunch of flowers like every year. And, well, one thing I'm hoping for really is that mountain bog gentian. Supposed to be a perennial. If it is, I'm going to do my best to propagate it, because it's not only just beautiful, but it's like unheard of in this area. There aren't any gentians around here. If they were, they'd be everywhere, but there aren't any. This, of course, the hazelnut trees, bushes, are sitting here waiting to go to seed, and we'll see. I'm thinking about investing in some really large hazelnut type breeds, because these, they may be quote hardy, but they're just inedibly small. They're really pathetic. They're more husk and not much of that even than they are meat. So I realize hazelnuts are not really a big producer unless you get the really big breeds. And so I'm thinking about getting some big breeds of hazelnuts. And the other thing is, plan on putting my watermelon crop up on the roof this year. Get my culverts there and hang them all up there as planters along there, and fill it up with potting soil, and make myself some watermelons up on the roof. Of course, I'll have to put wire up there and everything, so stuff I gotta get around to. Haven't been doing yet. Lots to do, and technically enough time to do it if I just get my lazy self around to it. We shall see what we shall see. And also, I just realized, because I was worried at one point that I wouldn't have enough tension on there from hanging the wire, but because if you look at the slope of this hill, or this roof, and where these posts are, I can use these posts to anchor to stretch the wire good and snug. Just run some rope up through there, and or wire or whatever to the edge of the fence wire, and pull them tight. And I'll put ladder kind of walkways in between, so it'll be like 4 foot of fence, 2 feet of walkway, 4 foot of fence, 2 feet of walkway along through there. And that should give me everything I need. And I'll probably try to put it up about 12 inches off of the surface, or about equal with whatever that other little awning is, and use the awning as an anchor point all across there, and then just go straight pretty much parallel, or maybe a little higher depending. Now, one thing about making it higher is because if I have to drive through here, which I still do, and I haven't dug this down a few more feet, which eventually is supposed to, like you can see the difference in this side and in the middle. Well, if I can take this and get it down as low as that is and go through here, that'll be about 36 inches, believe it or not, deeper there. So you'd be able to drive at least a small truck through here without hanging up on any of the anchor cables. The other side of it is put some upright beams, pieces of timber up here, and run the cable a little higher, and then just counterpin it back down with some wire near the edge of the roof to keep it where it needs to be while it's pull it nice and tight, and then pull it down close. And it doesn't have to be exactly any height up here. Just all I have to do is just train the watermelon plants up to the, I droop little pieces off of mesh of chicken wire or just scrap wire or anything along the edge so that they can grow from the planter up to the trellises, and then grow up the trellises as far as they feel like it. And the idea is to keep the deer out of the watermelons that ate the plant, and keep the groundhogs out of the watermelons because they eat the fruit. So that's pretty much my overall goal. And if it's successful, I will look into doing that on the other side over here. Because again, not only do I have all this extra space over here, it's not really doing anything. In the summer, when it gets really hot, having those watermelons up on the roof will convert some of that heat back into cool, because not only will it shade, but photosynthesis technically takes heat energy. In other words, if you just took a sealed container, little environment in there, And if you could, even if you kept everything chemically the same, like if you vent all the oxygen and add all the carbon dioxide so that the balance never changes, but do it in a heat exchanger so that you're not changing the temperature. The photosynthesis will lower the temperature in your little sealed box by as much as 4 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not for sure the absolute amount, but it's at least 4 degrees. It could be higher than that, but or is it 4 degrees Celsius? However much it is, it's nothing to like disregard, because again, you got the shade effect, then you've got the photochemical effect at the same time. And then I think part of it, because they're green, I think part of it is they actually radiate a lot of the infrared back into space. I'm not for sure. I have to look into it. And it depends. Every single plant is different. So like that walnut tree, that pine tree, that oak tree, these grasses and weeds and everything around here, that cherry, grapevine, all these things have different levels of photosynthetic strength. The chemical reaction is one thing, the density of the reaction is another. So it's kind of a power density thing as to how much cooling it produces. And again though, the thing is in the wintertime when they go dormant, you know, die off, as the case may be with watermelons, then they're no longer shading the roof, therefore then the roof is gathering heat again, as much as that reflective zinc roof will absorb. So, you know, little things like that. And now up on this thing, yeah, I haven't done anything with it lately, but you see I got these little, they look like bird poop, little marks here, so I can go through there and cut this. And I gotta get my new torch set, lease myself some bottles, since my brother took his bottles away, which is fine, they're his. Just go in there and notch these all out. You see that bow in there, flatten that out, and then weld the pieces together and get this bed reassembled so I can get it back on my other truck. Because that other truck over there, all beat up, rough, hacked, gets better fuel mileage than this thing. It's actually got more power than this thing. I don't know what the displacement is on this thing. It's probably somewhere around. I could probably find out. I just don't care right now. But I'm pretty sure it's a small block. So it's probably not more than 383 cubic inches. And again, I could find out. It's anywhere from 350 to 383, I think. Something like that. Whichever engine they put in that. And there are different ones you can get. And that was a fleet truck. This was a fleet truck too. But this one came with a Fleet Industrial Commercial 392. So, while it's not a racing engine, it is at least a few cubic inches bigger than a 383, like 9 cubic inches, and several more than that over a 350. And so it's even though the gear ratio is higher in this, it's still got pretty good pulling power. And I'm very pleased with my drive shaft salvation. A gentleman, don't know if he wants me to tell his name, so I'm not going to say it, but he's a real kind gentleman over in Tennessee that helped me to get that, and that makes a world of difference, because having that thing coming all apart was not a safe thing, and I needed to fix that. It was coming apart, so it needed to be put back together, and it is. Alright, well, that's everything I can think of, and probably a few that I didn't. And we will go on with regular programming later on. But right now, I'm going to call it an end of week, and go relax, eat a good meal, and kick back and watch YouTube videos or listen to sermons or whatever. So we'll see y'all later.